Hi everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel, where we heal holistically through guided journaling. Loss is a stranger that enters our world uninvited. In journaling through loss and grief, we explore all the aspects of the grieving process, and today we are going to focus on the unfairness of death and anger. Sometimes when we think of an elderly person who died from natural causes, who lived a long life, death does not seem so unfair. In contrast, a young child dying from cancer, a military person dying in a war zone, people who die from violent crimes. For those of us who are left behind, death seems much more unfair. Allow yourself for a few minutes to ponder on your definition of the unfairness of death. Mitch Albom said that in order to move on, you must first understand why you felt the way in the first place and why you no longer have the need to feel that way. So in order for us to move on from the unfairness of death, we must understand why we feel this way in the first place. When we feel like we have been treated unfairly, a whole plethora of other emotions seem to come with that. Anger, depression, sadness, loneliness, frustration. What emotions come to mind when you deal with the unfairness of death? Unfairness and anger are messenger emotions. What we mean by a messenger emotion, it is one that is very intense and it seeks our immediate attention. I like to think of these emotions as actually very positive emotions. They're not negative. If we see ourselves as holistic beings, all the emotions that we feel are a part of who we are. Healing and personal transformation comes in how we respond to these very intense emotions. So for example, if we feel anger and we have a violent domino effect, anger did not really serve a higher purpose. On the contrary, if we feel very, very angry and we take a mindfulness moment, step back and see what the emotion is trying to tell us, what the message is, then we start healing ourselves. For example, if we get angry every time we have a past event or a person, the message could be that there are some parts in our history that we need to heal so that these triggers no longer control our lives. The same goes for unfairness. It is a messenger emotion. The death was unfair. Write it all in your loss and grief journal. Write exactly how unfair it is and that you are left behind because it is so unfair. It totally sucks. Include your anger at the person who died. Yes, we are angry that the person died. We go so far as to even consciously or subconsciously blame the person who died. We rationalize and justify our anger and feelings of unfairness because if the person didn't die, you wouldn't be left with all these emotions. So do we simply just accept that it's unfair? Do we simply keep our anger within ourselves? That leaves the door open to resentment. Not only resenting the death itself, but also resenting others who have what was taken away from you. For example, if you lost your father, every father-daughter dance is going to be a trigger, and you are going to resent the people who still have that relationship. It's not their fault, but that's besides the point. The death that you suffered was unfair, and you are resentful. The problem is, though, that our bodies also need energy to deal with these very intense messenger emotions. And if you think of your body as a finite container, meaning it only has a specific amount of space, intense emotions are very draining on our bodies. It takes a lot out of us. You might even feel drained after being so intensely angered, or even intensely resentful of the unfairness of death. Over time, the emotions that were only there to serve as a messenger becomes the foundation of how we view the world. It's decision time. Do you want to build your foundation for healing on anger and unfairness of death? Or would you like to integrate the messenger emotions, the gifts thereof, and create understanding in your healing process so that you can still live a passionately wonderful life, fulfilling the reason why you are on this earth? You are alive. Even if you wished that you could trade places with the person who died. George S. Patton said, "You fight like you train." Think back on all the unfairness that you have dealt with up until this point, not including the death. How did you survive anger? Were there times that you simply walked away from the fight? Were there times that you needed outside help? You are resilient. You have all the skills inside of you to heal. When you are ready, write the words, "I release myself from unfairness and anger of death," on a piece of paper. Now read it back to yourself aloud. Do you feel the energy shift? Feel free to write down your own releasing mantra and read it back to yourself. During the coming days and weeks, if you find yourself going back to past thoughts and messenger feelings of unfairness and anger, repeat your mantra to immediately shift your energy to the healed part of yourself. With repetition and trust in your own power, it will become easier and easier. You are drawing on previous experiences and empowering yourself with your own inner wisdom. When we release the intense messenger emotions of unfairness and anger, we make space in our holistic bodies for something new and something healthy. Journal down what you would like to fill your space with. For example, I acknowledge that it is unfair that my child passed away from cancer. I release the feelings of unfairness and anger, and I fill it with messages of calm and harmony through the sounds of the trees in the forest and the smells from the flowers in my garden. I ground myself and build on a foundation of holistic healing. You have now set the foundation for healing by integrating loss as a part of life. Death and all its unfairness and all the anger no longer fills up, and it's no longer who you are or how you view the world. You are releasing that which no longer serves you in a very substantial way. Your body is calm, your mind is enlightened, and your spirit aligned with true healing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to our channel for more holistic healing inspirations. And if you have not already done so, be sure to get your own journal through loss and grief, where it is stocked with much more healing through guided journaling. See you next time. Keep journaling and keep growing.